made a very brief introduction to our friends that what we are going to talk about. And as Dylan is a renowned expert for the topic, so I would actually love to give him the stage today and share with us his valuable knowledge and expertise and experiences, because I'm sure not only me but all of us, we're dealing with these subjects like bad habits, like lack of integrity, like what we can call also sabotage patterns, like why we don't do what we are actually supposed to do, although we may know that would be the right thing for us, for our life, for our business, for our surroundings. But some people call it lack of discipline, some people call it lack of integrity, some people call it lack of maturity. So let us see what Dr. Dylan has to offer us. What is the reason actually? Why do I do what I do and why I don't do what I'm supposed to do?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. This is about the pattern that we have programmed, not we actually, our parents, our teachers, school, news, whatever, programmed us from childhood. We have been programmed with this pattern. And when this pattern, it goes in the subconscious mind, it becomes a default program. And whatever we do is based on that default program. That's why we do what we do. And sometimes we don't know the reason. We want to do something different, and we know that is the right thing to
Mm-hmm.
do, but we go back to the same pattern, same habits that we had before, and we never accomplish that thing that we are supposed to do to be successful in any aspect of life. It doesn't matter. It's not only about business, it's about any aspect of life. And that is because of that pattern that unfortunately has been programmed in our subconscious mind. Let me give you an example.
I
If
also
you
give
buy,
you an example afterward, because I think we all have examples from our private life and also professional life, because they are both actually resonating with each other. So, but please go ahead first with yours.
yeah, so this pattern actually built a self-image in our subconscious mind. Even we're not aware of that, and it's just like when we call it subconscious or unconscious, it is really subconscious. We gain access to that pattern, to that self-image only if we want to, if consciously we go deep inside our subconscious mind to find out, and it's based on the results. Now let me give you the example. So for example, you have a computer, and you have a printer, a like an old-fashioned black and white printer, as a default printer on your computer. Now you get a very nice picture, beautiful, colorful picture, and then you wanna print it out, and then you click on the picture and you click print. What happens? It goes to the printer, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's the result?
Well, the picture,
A black and white picture,
yes,
right?
a black and
Because
white
that's
picture
how that printer is, as a
program.
default printer is on that computer. And now you say, okay, now I'm going to change it because I'm living in 21st century, and then I'm going to go buy a really high quality laser color printer.
Mhm.
You buy it, you bring it home, and you have it in the room. And now you click that picture, you click print. What's the result?
Colorful.
Not yet,
No, not yet. Yeah, exactly. Because they
right?
haven't changed
You put
the
it.
order. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. That's why I want to go step by step, because uh, when we understand these basic, very simple concepts, then we can actually access our self-image in our subconscious mind.
That's absolutely right. And I have to really just, uh, how to say, I have to just confirm that, because it is now what you mentioned was a great example. First of all, just, I mean, I love the metaphors that you always use. So this is something that everybody can quickly resonate with that and understand how is that process, and actually how simple is that. But I have a question, then why is it so difficult? To execute
Because,
on that, to
because
execute on
our
that, you
super
know.
biocomputer is not like a physical computer.
Mhm.
Our super biocomputer, which is like the most powerful computer in the world. However, if you want to change the program as a default program on your computer, you need to work on it. It's
Mhm.
not like our laptop that you can delete a program and install another one. So in this example of printer, then you brought it home. Now you have a printer, and when you click it, it doesn't work because still it's not installed. And then you install it. And then if only you installed it,
Uh-huh.
still it doesn't work.
I think
And I
it's
want
also this process of installation. Is it correct?
to.
Just
Mhm.
that was, I was recapping something in my mind, because also one of my amazing friends, a great lady, Lilian, she just also made a comment and said meditation helps. Well, but also many people, they have the problem to meditate. That's also something which is maybe the same process that you want to tap on, the process to have that control over yourself, over your mind, the conscious and the subconscious one, and just to bring it into just one level and empty your mind. Let's say, as she said, meditate, or as you said, reprogram or repattern. These are, I mean, I think easier said than done. So
Yeah,
just saying, because
meditation.
I was also having the challenges. I am now really on the good path. So I learned how to meditate. This is a big thing. I mean, I succeeded 1 year ago. Super honest. I mean, I tried it maybe a few years, but it never happened. I mean, I never got it empty here. So it's impossible that a human being can, for a couple of minutes or maybe half an hour or a couple of seconds, just empty his mind. A human being always thinks, I think because I am. So how is it possible that you don't think of something? But the moment that I succeeded was so precious to me, was so unforgettable. I don't want to now explain that because it will take all of our time. But just saying that it is actually a challenging process. And normally we know a lot, because a lot of people, they also come to such interesting sessions or workshops to exercise. But when you start talking to them, they are just like, I know, I've read this, I've been into that, but they say we know, but they don't execute on that. So that's, they don't succeed. So I give you one example, just private life and professional life, because I think, I mean, we all know business is a reflection of the person. So when I'm not in good order in my personal life, my professional life would definitely suffer. So one thing that I have been really dealing with as a challenge is that, look, we all have an agenda. We have calendar set, meetings, tasks, to-do lists, not to-do lists, everything set. This is also something that we have to put in the agenda, because some people laugh, like also myself, but I got used to it also, to put not to-dos. And once we go over our agenda early morning, when we want to start our day, so we go to the meeting that is on our agenda, or we catch that train on time, which is taking us to that meeting, which is on our agenda, taking place at 10:30 a.m. And if we are, I mean, good people and polite people, we are there on time. But looking at the next meeting on the agenda would be something that maybe a to-do list. Let's work on my next blog or my article, 2:30 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. Why? I'm saying it myself. I'm not perfect. So I know that 99% of our lovely friends and audiences out there, they're challenging with this. Maybe they are not admitting that, but they do. But that other meeting or that other task, which is on the agenda, and it's with myself, it is the meeting with myself. I set that for myself. You work on your next article or on your next blog, 2:30 to 5:30 p.m. This, I don't say it doesn't happen, but it doesn't happen in the frames that I set for myself. But the meeting, which was taking place at 10:30 a.m., I took the train for that. I was there. I even maybe did not eat something properly before, but I was there. So why do we value the meeting with a third person, with another person, more than a meeting with ourselves? So I'm just trying to recap it this way. Is that something that why we don't do what we are supposed to do? Why can I not sit that 2:30 to 5:30 and the time container that I set for myself? Maybe some of our lovely friends, they manage it fantastically. I'm talking for myself, but I'm sure many of us who share the same problem. Why is it? Is that integrity? Is that practice, discipline, meditation, lack of whatsoever, maturity, playfulness, lack of focus, easy distraction? Question was long, so go ahead. Tell us what's the problem.
This is
Tell us
this is
how we
not
can
only
solve
your
it, you know?
problem. This
I
is
want to
everybody's
put it easy.
problem. Okay, and it's back to the pattern and the self-image that I mentioned at the beginning, because it is there. And as I mentioned, you cannot get rid of a habit, a pattern, from your subconscious mind, just delete it like a laptop. No, it doesn't happen like
So it's
that.
a habit. It's a
It's gradually.
but why
Maybe
sometimes it works? Sometimes if I have a pressure or if there's a deadline, if I have an exam,
exactly.
or if I have a deadline for that article, then I do it.
Yeah, I explain. I explain now why is that? Why sometimes you do it, sometimes you don't, and most of the time you don't. And
Yes.
this is
Honestly, yes.
me included. Okay,
Okay.
everyone is like that. But however, it works like that. It's because when you want to change a habit, a pattern, the self-image that now you're consciously aware of that, you want to change it. That deviation from the pattern, from the default program, it gonna picked up by your subconscious mind, and it's gonna compare with that original program. And then when it says that this program is not matched with this program, then subconsciously you get that idea, and you get some other things to do, but not to do the main thing.
Yeah.
And you ask why we do for somebody else, because
Hmm. Is it
generally
like we
we are
value
generous.
that external push more than our internal push? Or yeah.
Yeah, we are generous as a human.
Ah,
We are generous, and
that's a
we
positive, nice
act upon
explanation. Now I
emotion.
feel better. From lack of
we
integrity to generosity. Hallelujah.
and we act upon emotion. We think logically, but we act upon emotion, and emotionally we are involved with that third party, whomever it might be. So we do those things for others,
Mhm.
and then in the as a result of that, most of the time we get behind ourselves.
Yeah, that's
I
it.
know some people, they mention, oh, self-help is not good and such and such. Self-help actually is good, because if you cannot help yourself, you cannot help another one.
Others, absolutely.
That's why in the airplane, the first thing you learn about
Hmm.
safety, they teach
Yeah,
you,
yeah.
when the oxygen mask drops,
First,
put it
save
on
yourself.
yourself first and then your child. Because
Exactly.
otherwise, if you're weak, if you cannot survive, how you can your child to survive?
Absolutely. I have very
Right?
nice also metaphor from our wonderful master and coach, Michelle Masters. Once I told her, yeah, but I tend a lot to be there for people or help them. And sometimes I forget myself. And she said, just imagine that the person that you want to help is down in a hole, in a deep hole, in a very bad, desperate situation, and you are just up there looking at him or her, and you're thinking how to save. But is that the better solution to go down and join him, sit with him in that hole, both of you, sorry, are shit, or you stay strong above and just
Mm-hmm.
throw down a rope, and you have to be strong enough to be able to pull him up with that rope. Otherwise, if you stand up there suffering or started crying or say, oh, I want to be in pain with you, or I want to share the pain with you, or I come down to you, you both die, or he will die, and you are too weak to
Mhm.
help him. So make yourself strong enough to throw that rope and to pull him up instead of joining him in the suffering game. So this is, I think,
Yeah,
also going into very
yeah,
similar.
that's true. And back to the question that one of our friends actually mentioned, or a comment rather, if meditation helps. Yes, meditation helps. However, it's based on practice. Meditation helps to make that practice happen.
Mhm.
But changing the pattern, changing the habit, I'm going to give you an example actually from an expert. But changing that habit is little by little. It doesn't happen overnight
In chunks.
because we are dynamic. We are alive. We are not a laptop to delete a program and install another one. It doesn't work like that.
Mhm.
Bruce Lee, the
I
master
love
of
him.
martial
I love
arts.
my brother, one of my older brother. He's, I mean, since 30 years, he could die for him. But I love him
Yeah.
as well.
So he was coaching his clients, and they asked him, Master, what can I do to be somebody like you? And that was his method to bring a, a glass of clear water and a glass of Coke and uh, sitting on one end of the table and sat the other person on the at the end of the table and then said, okay, this Coke is you. This is your mind. If you want to be clear like this water, you need to change. How you can change? And then he poured the water into the Coke, the glass of Coke, and asked the person, did it change? And the person naturally said, no, not much, because you cannot see it. It's still dark. And then he brought a pitcher of water and then pour more water into that glass and pour it in the glass of Coke and then pour it a little bit of that. And every time he did it until that glass got clear.
Mhm.
And he said, this is how it works. It's little by little, it's step by step. And many people, I know many people right now online, as you mentioned, they say, oh, we know that. Yes, but we have this
That's a
knowledge.
disease, unfortunately.
However,
We had it also.
yeah, and many things that we talk about on this Facebook Live, they are common sense. The problem is common sense is not common practice.
Absolutely.
If you want to change that knowledge, by the way, is not power, it's only potential power.
Until you
It
tune
becomes
and
power
execute on that.
when
Yeah.
you know how to use that knowledge. If the knowledge was power, why we have millions of people with PhDs, doctorate degrees,
But
and
they
they
have no
fail.
power.
Exactly.
That's true. Yeah. Also, my
So
mentor always tell me, knowledge is not power. Applied knowledge is power. Once you
exactly.
apply it and execute on it, then it can turn to power if it's a good knowledge, of course. There are also useless knowledge that they can stay just where they are.
Yeah, so that's why it's very important to hire a coach. But let me mention that if I use myself as an example. Okay. First, let me ask you this question. If you want to be a medical doctor, be a brain surgeon, do you think by reading some books you can do it?
No.
No, you have to go to school, you have to go through training, and you need to practice with masters, with people who know what to do.
Oops.
And then they teach you what to do, and you practice and you learn.
Very correct.
However, many
Same
of
also
us,
in sport. I mean, you can watch so
everything,
many, or you can go yourself on tennis court or football court with the best facilitation. But as long as you don't have a coach who's telling you that, Oh, look who is joining now. Johnny, I feel flattered. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
I mean, he is an NLP master. He is also our coach and a very respected man. So
yeah, exactly.
I feel honored.
The reason the reason I say that, we have actually Dr. Hiwa,
Oh yeah, I saw.
a cardiothoracic surgeon, online, and I know many people actually, they have like high degree, and we all are familiar with this. I use myself as, for this example, because the mistake I did for many years, I thought, well, I was a medical doctor. I didn't need to hire a coach to teach me about mind, because everything to me, it was just brain, 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 brain. And then I saw many things on my patient which I couldn't, and not only me, nobody could explain why those things happen to those
Mm-hmm.
patients. That many times I have seen patients with wrong diagnosis, wrong medication, wrong treatment, they got better. And on the other side, patients with right diagnosis in the best facility, right medication, right treatment, they didn't get better.
Is it not
Then,
how we also absorb a treatment, or what is the ground when the treatment is done on that? Because maybe I am already prepared for that, or maybe mentally I'm in a situation that maybe so-called wrong treatment can work for me and the right one couldn't, but on another person. Is it something like the fundament should be appropriate, exactly like once the nice the Rumi says, once student is ready, master will appear. So it doesn't have
yeah.
to do a lot with the type of the treatment, but with how
Mhm,
ready or how
mhm.
well prepared that ground is, or the fundament is.
Yes. Siaman is asking a question,
Yeah, I'm
but
trying to read
before
it,
we
but
get
I
to
can't.
that question, let me explain that.
Sure.
So I use this as my example, and this is true story of my life, that I was very arrogant, and
You.
I couldn't imagine to hire someone lower than me to coach me. Okay, and when I hired, probably most of you know Bob Proctor.
Oh yeah, I
Okay,
respect him a lot. Yeah.
so he never finished high school. He was in high school for 2 months, and he got kicked out. And then I was debating myself, should I hire this person as my coach and teach me or not? And it went on for a year or two until I went with him and I learned a lot. Okay. And I realized something, that changing a habit, changing a pattern in my subconscious mind, it takes not only practice, it takes working with those people
Yeah.
who have been through that process, and they know what to do. They have taught many
Mhm.
many people smarter than me,
Mm.
and they know
They have
what's
proven
going on.
system
They
that
know
worked, you know.
how to teach me how to work. Yeah, how does it work, and how to teach me to practice to change this.
You know what, I also sometimes have to remind some of my clients or students that we get into sessions, etc., that once they ask for this, I'm really reminding them of that: have trust and have commitment in full. And once you build up the trust and the commitment, you should have trust in three things: in yourself, in the process, and in your coach. Because once you
Exactly.
start challenging what you're being told, or you think you know it better, then sorry, why you're not already there where you wish to be. So once you are hiring someone or you're getting committed, first of all, stay committed, because without commitment, I think the same topic that you're mentioning, rewiring habits or practicing new habits or getting rid of bad ones, is just senseless. It's pointless. It will never come to a conclusion, because once you have the will, maybe, but as long as you don't practice on it, or you don't show yourself, or so you don't prove yourself enough commitment to go through the process and trust also yourself, because I think that starts all from here. If I don't trust myself and I don't think I'm capable of achieving that, then the whole thing is lost. And the second thing is that, as you mentioned, we it takes time and practice. So we have to trust also in a process. It takes some time. It's not, there is no one night overnight millionaires. the iceberg metaphor, of course, and then trusting the people that we have already hired to tell us things, and then not wasting time and energy to challenge all that. So I think it goes somehow hand in hand with what you just mentioned. Can you maybe read Siaman's question entirely? I just can read it until on our own.
No, actually, I don't see the entire question. He's
Let
asking
me
about,
try.
yeah, if you can click on see more, or if
Yeah, I
Siaman
do,
can
but
just mention the main
some
point in a small sentence, that would be great. But
uh,
by that time that Siaman will respond again. Let me give you an example of our coordinating system. We have a coordinating system in our brain. And this is very interesting. That have been mentioned actually by many people, including in the book Psychocybernetics. This by Dr. Maltz, who was a plastic surgeon. This coordinating system in our brain is just like coordinating system in an airplane. Now, let me give you an example to understand how does it work and how you can
yeah.
so when you fly, right now I'm in Denver, you're in Zurich, okay? So let's say you want to fly from Zurich to Denver.
Mm-hmm.
When the airplane gets in a certain height, the pilot put the entire system on autopilot. And
Okay,
after that,
yes.
he relaxes, okay? Because he doesn't need to like meticulously control everything
Mm-hmm.
for the rest of the flight, except if something happens. Now, this is on autopilot and move forward. But on the way, the plane gets knocked off the course by turbulence, by wind. Okay, this uh, getting away, this deviation from that course, it picked up by the coordinating system of the airplane, and then the autopilot send some impulses to different places of the plane, like including the wings and the engine and stuff, to get this airplane back on the course, okay, to get you here to Denver. Now, if you change your mind, for example, you are the pilot. If you change your mind and you say, okay, no, I'm gonna go to Los Angeles, but you have not
Sunday.
changed that program on the autopilot. This is our coordinating system.
Ah, okay.
You cannot get there. You come to Denver no matter what, because you have programmed this airplane to come here.
So you can't just
And that's
course
why
correct
that
right
deviation, yeah, even if you change it manually and you put it back on the autopilot, which is our coordinating system, it goes back to the same course. And that's how our nervous system works, because our nervous system is designed for survival. It's not
Absolutely.
designed for pleasure. It's designed for getting away from pain. And that's why when we want to change a habit, that deviation, for example, like at the time of New Year, that people have New Year resolution, the gyms are packed. And then after a few weeks, it goes back to the normal, the routine, right? Why? Because that deviation that we want to change our habit to go to exercise every day and release some weight and get fit, that habit is a new habit. And when you consciously put it in your mind, it should go to subconscious mind to become a habit. But it doesn't happen that way. And then that deviation from the standard course will be picked up by your coordinating system and say, oh, this is wrong. This is not the main course you're supposed to go. Then it goes back to the default program. That's why it's really hard to change it. That's why it takes time. And that's why we don't do the things we are supposed to do.
Yeah. So it means during that process, when the brain gives the, let's say, the order, or say, look, this is now end of 2018, so I want to lose 5 kilos. etc. So the brain will actually make the decision, let's say, and then as soon as it's going towards the process and the execution, so is it like that it gets to a bam on the subconscious and it gets again like a turn back, and then it means we have to again and again course correct until that
Correct.
really is set up there and it's settled, so that it just do not it just does not how to say, get reset or resend to
Mhm,
the brain
mhm.
again, or until we tame, let's say, the subconscious. Could that be the right term for that?
Yes,
Or we
actually,
tame the way we think or with the way we react? Because you
I'm sorry.
mentioned the way we react or the way we think about something, because I think this all, the source for all of that are thoughts, and maybe the thoughts are coming up and maybe prevent us from doing that just because of the survival, the need to survive, and not
Mhm.
the need for development or improvement and pleasure, etc., the ultimate pleasure, let's say, when we are satisfied with ourselves, but just with that safety of being somewhere which we are at ease, and everything is fine and we are not at risk or jeopardized but by something.
Yes, whenever we change something which is not matched with the previous pattern, with the previous habit, it will be picked up by our subconscious mind, by our coordinating system, as deviation from standard,
Mm-hmm.
as deviation from the safety zone. And our nervous system is designed to keep us safe.
Yeah.
As Siaman
To
mentioned,
seek protection,
our,
right? Yeah.
yeah, to survive, not pleasure. Yes, that is true. Our nervous system is designed to survive, not for pleasure. And that's why when you want to change, that is getting out of your comfort zone. It means getting out of your safety.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why it will be picked up by
Yeah, it
our
will be
brain, by our
rejected.
subconscious
Yeah.
mind, as an unsafe thing,
Mhm. Because
and we go
change
back
is
to the same
actually
pattern.
unsafe, right? Because change is the transition to the unknown, and the unknown is unsafe. So
Correct.
that's why we are
Correct.
blocked unconsciously as soon as, even if we are going toward a maybe positive change, but the mind does not know it, and whatever it doesn't know, it blocks, because as soon as something is unknown, then it's resonates with unsafety, and that would be in contradiction to what we are seeking, protection and safety. This is how we're also born in the whole ecosystem, this is the sense of belonging, the sense of being somewhere out of risk. So this I
Mhm.
can absolutely understand, but just probably to come to um, conclusion, what would you, because now I think, just to sum up, we know it first starts with an intention, and then we have to trust in a process. So it's a matter of practicing, and that's where also discipline comes from, because as long as we are not practicing, there is no discipline. So they both
Mhm.
somehow complete each other. So intention and the trust and the process and the commitment, and then how to really does it take a certain time, or is it from me to you or from one another to another different, as the treatment that you just mentioned for the two different patients that came with different results? What is the, I know there is no recipe, there is no general recipe for that, but what you could really give us on the way to put it in the pocket, and let's say as we are also approaching the end of the year, how can we empower this execution or strengthen um, this applying of this basic knowledge that we have? Because
Mhm.
when we don't, um, I call it respect ourselves, because when we lose the integrity toward our intention, I would say we become respectless toward ourselves, even if the word, the term is pretty tough now. But that's maybe how we should see it, so that we get a bit more serious, or we have to push ourselves a little better. When we get respectless about ourselves, or when we get too generous to the third parties or to outside, how is it to keep that to keep that in balance, so not to become careless about others, but not also become respectless to ourselves? Is there somewhere that these two can meet, or no way?
Of course, of course. And we need to reprogram our mind by practicing that we are a human being and we live in this world with other people. So we respect everyone, and no, saying no to someone, it doesn't mean that we disrespect that person.
Hmm.
It means at that time we don't have time
Or ability, or
or
capacity.
ability or like skill or whatever. But if you look at yourself and others at the same level and say, okay, so I need to be prepared and then I can help others.
Hmm.
Okay. Then at that moment you can change. But the back to your question that how you can do it is based on practice. Just look at it like you want to get a degree, you want to get like a high school diploma. You go through that process to be able to get that high school diploma. Otherwise, you won't
Probably
get it.
keeping that result or vision always in front of us, because that helps.
Exactly.
As you also
Yes.
mentioned, once we make it our mission to help others, or put an impact in our surrounding or in the lives of others, every morning when I'm waking up now, I'm practicing to remind myself of what I'm up to, or why am I doing what am I doing. So that keeps me charged, because I see if I am not well equipped for that, so how can I impact others if I'm not in good shape myself? How can I teach my clients or my students to get rid of that habit, or to integrate the other one when I am lacking it? Of course, we are all human being and no machine, so we must be perfect in our imperfection, um, and admit also our mankos and mistakes, and as we just discussed, also reach out for help whenever is needed, whenever we realize, because the gut feeling tell us really when it's needed, and we should not deny it. So it is, I think, a very good point and a very good takeaway of this, that once we don't lose our vision and our mission and the impact that we want to make, or the legacy that we want to leave behind, then probably we can stay also charged or tuned, um, to move on towards that growth, or that improvement. It would not happen, of course, every, I mean, overnight, but when we are committed to the process. So could that be something that we can give as a takeaway of tonight?
Yes. So as a takeaway, actually, I want to show you
Oh, please. I think you have something.
logo.
Yeah.
Okay. This is D, by the way. You see it as a B because I'm using
Once
the
more, you
front
can
camera of
click
my
it, because
iPad.
exactly.
So it looks like, and there are four words around it: driven, decisive, determined, and disciplined. We have to be those words. For having something, you have to be that
Mhm,
personality first,
mhm.
and then you can have it. Is be, do, have. Be that person, do the practice, and then you have it.
Absolutely.
Whenever we want to get out of our safety zone, it's going to be uncomfortable, it's going to be distressful, stressful, and it makes us somehow fearful from
Yeah.
the unknown,
Scared.
even
Mm.
from success. And when we get that idea, when we put that in our conscious mind and it goes to the subconscious mind, and it's going to pick up as unsafe things to do or unsafe zone, then we're going to hit the terror barrier, and then we go back to the default program because we feel safe there.
Mhm. Absolutely.
So
Because
it's a
we know
matter
that,
of,
you know.
yeah, it's a matter of practicing over and over and over and over till you get it. And then when you immerse your subconscious mind with this new idea, and it's going to be a pattern, a habit, then
And
it
it's a
will
part
be
of
just
us.
like brushing your teeth. It's
Yeah,
a habit.
exactly. Yeah. I actually, from the amazing Johnny, who just joined us also before, he was giving us a very great exercise after we had the training with him. He said, all the things that we know as habits, they are nice to us or comfortable to us because we know how to do. We will never forget how to tie our shoes because we have learned it so well that we can do it with closed eyes. We will never forget that. Or we will never forget the way from home to school. That's it. Even after 50 years, when we go to the same street, we still know. So we will never forget that. And then he said, just practice. When you go tonight to brush your teeth, if you're right-handed or left-handed, do it tonight with the opposite hand and see what
Mm-hmm.
happened. If you this kind of stuff can happen, but just try it and do it for a few days, and you see actually it is uncomfortable at the beginning because we don't know it, because we just knew it differently. But as soon as maybe in a few days we see, oh, that's also how it works, then it becomes a habit, and then we will learn it, and we can also do it with the lights off with the left hand. So a matter of rewiring, as you said.
Exactly, that's true, and it takes time. It takes practice.
Mhm.
However, it's possible. Everything that, if you want it, if you really, really want it from your heart and practice toward it, it will happen. But whatever you want to do, just put it in different areas that you can see it. And I put this beautiful logo, actually designed by someone who's online right now with us. I don't know
Ah, don't
if
tell me
I'm
that.
allowed to announce her name or not.
Yeah, yeah,
She's
just
online now.
Bahar.
So
Wow.
if you wanna mention, you hear me, just go ahead and mention it.
I
But
think
I
it
mean,
it is it
I
is
put it on my
Bahare.
cell
Is it
phone
correct?
because I see it. I see it like every time I pick up my cell phone to look at it. I see this, and
Mhm.
it's a reminder to me.
Yes, she
And
confirms
Bahara
that.
says yes. So
Bravo,
uh,
brava,
I
Bahare.
had I had this logo in mind for few years.
Wow.
I was just practicing on it to make it the way I wanted. And then so I did the preliminary, and I asked Bahara to design it for me, and
Amazing.
she did this beautiful logo. So I have it on my phone, and every time I pick it up, it's a reminder for me that I am driven, I'm decisive, I'm determined, and I am disciplined. And I
Amazing.
have to discipline myself. And it doesn't mean that I'm coaching many leaders now. It doesn't mean that I don't have a bad habit.
Oh,
It
we all
doesn't
have,
mean that,
but
yeah,
I
it
think
doesn't
we are
mean that
strong
I'm
enough when
perfect,
we
I'm
say that.
master.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's about practice, is about when you set a goal, that goal is for growing, is not to achieve the goal and stay there.
Mhm.
Otherwise, we're going to be
Yeah.
rattled.
This is what I
But
also learned, that once you climb a mountain, don't stand there and say, wow, I did it, but find a bigger mountain and plan how to climb the other one. So
exactly.
you'll never stop in life. I mean, life is a constant stage of learning and growing. So that's great. And one term that I want to add to it, and then we can close because I think you also have a session and I have also something. I think all of that is impossible without courage.
Exactly.
When we don't have courage, change is pointless. So we have to have
Yes.
also training that, or some of them we are born with it. I mean, I'm born with courage. I'm not scared normally. I just go for things. I know I hit my head also quite often, but
Mm.
I don't regret it because I don't regret the things that I did not do. I did. I tried. And for change, courage is, I think, inevitable.
I mean, just let me mention something to our audience, that that's true. The courage is very, very important, and courage actually makes us to be driven and decisive and
Hmm.
do something, regardless of what does it take and how long does it take. But let me mention something to our audience, that if you don't have courage, if you don't have any of these like big ideas, and you feel, oh, I don't have that idea, I'm not that smart, I'm not such and
Hi,
such,
Martin. I'm sorry. I
change
just
it,
have to say
change
hi
it.
to
Okay.
Martin Dobney. He is a star also in this field. So you guys maybe should get to know each other. Martin,
Yeah.
unfortunately,
Yeah.
you're a
So,
little late. We're just closing, but stay with us for the takeaway and for the farewell.
yeah. So the takeaway here is we can change any habit, any pattern, any default programming in our subconscious mind. It's a skill. It's just like walking, talking, reading, doing math, or whatever we have learned is based on practice.
Mhm.
We didn't know any of these when we were a child.
So let's say that's
And
the good news, right? So it means we are
yeah,
capable of that. And now the
yes.
bad news, the process. Go ahead.
Well, I don't call it bad news,
No,
but we
I'm
need
just trying
we
to be
need to
funny.
practice. Yeah, bad news for just yeah, we have to get out of our comfort zone. We have to feel that pain and grow through that pain
Oh, yeah.
towards success, towards something higher.
That's great. So I see that we have already a resolution from my amazing friend Mahtab. She just said, from today on, I'm a 4D. And with a high.
Awesome.
So that's cool. I mean, once we can put impacts on one person's life for one day or for one resolution, that what makes my day and my weeks and my month and my life. Actually, that's what I wake up for every day, and I assume same is with you and many of other amazing people here. Martin, yes, it would be an honor for us that you also later on just go to the replay, because I will share it on my both of us. We will share it on our walls on Facebook, and later on also in the YouTube channel. So all our amazing friends and colleagues can replay and watch later on whenever they find time. Actually, it was supposed to be a 30-minute session, but yeah, sometimes when discussions goes well, then it's a pity just to cut it off or to keep back the value that we were about to share. Of course, there's still an ocean to share there, or with your knowledge and expertise, or with our questions, we could now run this session for another 2 days. But um, it is also okay that we leave our friends also to go for dinner, or yours to for lunch. So I suggest that we close it at this very stage, and then I would also like to invite our friends who are interested in knowing more how to, because as you know, I help people launch their new businesses from corporate or other jobs or 9 to 5 career to switch to a new chapter in their lives. So I offer, as usual, at the end of every session, 5 discovery sessions for free, so we can speak for 30 minutes, and I can look into your ideas or plans, and together we can find out whether you're on the right path or whether I can be of help for you there. So just don't hesitate, reach out to me and PM me, and I'll be glad to get back to you on this. Dylan?
Yeah, thanks so much for mentioning that. Same here, same offer. So I do the same. So you can reach out. I do personal and professional development. I'm a coach, like leadership coach and speaker. And tomorrow, actually, I speak for about 150 to 200 professional speakers at National Speaker Association. The topic is the power of one decision. Whenever you want to get more information, you want to have someone to look at your dreams. Don't be afraid of dreaming big. You can reach us. You can reach Awin, or you can reach me on Messenger, Facebook Messenger, or go to dylandolati.com. You have my name on Facebook. Just put it together.com. And on coaching session, actually, I put one tab specifically for Facebook Live people to reach me. So you can just click on that and send me, or just email me. dylanmd@gmail.com is my first name, MD like medical doctor at gmail.com. So you can reach out, and I would be happy to get together with you if you live here in person, if not online or on the phone, and talk to you.
Okay, great. Thank you very much also, Dylan, for your precious advices and guidances on this topic. Very valuable. I also appreciate it a lot, and I'm sure that our friends could also benefit from it. And for those who just joined us a bit later or who could not make it today, the video I will share, and also Dylan will share on our Facebook pages, and later on also on our YouTube channels. So everybody's welcome to replay again, and we will look forward also to your comments or questions or to your messages as we just offered. So have a beautiful evening, or also for those in States, have a beautiful day.
Thank you so much, everyone, and have a beautiful evening in Europe and nice afternoon in United States. Just make sure, Awin, that you post it because you're the main person on this Facebook Live.
Sure, I always do. Yes, I
All right.
always do. So see you at the
Yeah, I
next
know, but
Facebook
you're
Live, the
busy
last
these days.
Sunday
You're
of
so busy.
November. Yes, great.
All right.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Dylan,
you.
and thank you, everybody. Bye bye.
Thank
Have
you.
a